Okay, so now that we have created our 3D pipe and our 2D symbol, now what we want to do is we need to convert this. We need to tell Vectorworks that this is going to be a position that we're going to hang lights on. And this is really important because it'll provide a lot of feedback for us, and it'll do a lot of our work for us if we're able to tell Vectorworks that it's a lighting pipe, right? And so the way that we're going to do that is the first thing that we need to do is we need to create a symbol. And the symbol is going to, this will be our first time making our very first symbol, and it's really going to be easy. And it's now going to, we need to interact with our resource manager in a way that we may not have yet so far. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'll just go ahead and select everything. I'm going to select all of the 2D components and the 3D components. It's just everything. Now I'm going to go to Modify. I go to my Modify menu and I come down and I have an option here that says Create Symbol. And what you're going to want to do is just click on the Create Symbols and it will give you a dialog box. It'll give you this dialog box, and now we're given the option to name our symbol. And so I'm just going to call it 21-foot lighting pipe, right? Which is really what it is. It's a 21-foot lighting pipe. Now there are a few other options that we're going to want to make sure are checked. The first thing is we're going to be able to insert this symbol in multiple instances. And so what we're going to want to do is determine at what point we're using to insert it. And you can use any point, right? But what we're going to do is go ahead and define that point, and we want to go ahead and check insertion point on the next mouse click. So once we close this dialog box, the next place we click is going to be wherever we insert this symbol, right? Units, go ahead and leave them just world-based. I believe you can leave all of this alone. This should all default out. You may want to double check that leave instance in place is checked, right? And change 2D objects from layer to screen plane, which is what we did, right? We did the invert of that. And the rest of this should all default and be just fine. Now I'll say OK, and when I say OK, the very next, be careful, the very next click you make is going to determine the insertion point. So I'm going to say OK. And if you'll look, you'll see that my cursor is changed into a little bullseye, right? So now I'm going to zoom in to this middle, right, to that bold line that we made, which we know is the center of my lighting pipe. And I'm going to click right at the midpoint of that line, right in the middle of the rectangle, in the middle of the 3D shape. It's just the middle of everything. And I'll click there. Now it asks me, where do I want to save this? Where do I want to create this symbol? And you can just create it in your, whatever your file name. It's probably called LightLab or CAD Light, whatever your drawing file is named. And just go ahead and keep it in that default directory. And let's say OK, right? It's now changed this to what's called a 2D or a 3D symbol, right? It's now it's different than a group. It's different than a lot of things. It's now a symbol. And where this lives is going to be over here in your resource manager. Let's go ahead and make a little space here, and I'll open up across this way, and I think I can even close that down, right, to make a little room over here so we can see. You'll notice that you have an option at the very top that says Open File. Under your Open Files, you have a file that shows however many drawings you have open. You're going to want to select your drawing file, the one that you have open, your LightLab drawing file. And as you scroll down, there are going to be symbols and line types and things that are already in your drawing that Vectorworks has created. Now, I have some leftovers. I have some other folders that are in here, so don't worry about that. But if you'll look as you go down, here is my 21-foot pipe, 21-foot lighting pipe. Right now I can double click on that and look, now I can insert another lighting pipe. I can just keep inserting them, and I'm inserting them right in the middle, right? So now I've inserted 3 lighting pipes. What a symbol is it saves it as a symbol, and then I can insert the graphic attributes, right? Or I can insert that graphic as many times as I want in the drawing. And if I were to change any element of that symbol, it will automatically update all instances of that symbol in the drawing, right? So that symbol is in your resource manager. It's in your current file. Once you click on the current file, it should be right next to it. Getting used to the resource manager may take a few seconds, but once you get the hang of it, it'll be just fine. So that is now converting this to a symbol, and that way you don't have to draw them all over and over again.